everyone, it's Bailey. Welcome back to the channel and thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to be talking about reviewing and swatching the Profusion Paradise palette, as well as doing 3 looks, or walking you through 3 looks I created using it, including the one that I'm wearing today. The brand actually sent me this palette a couple weeks back as part of a couple of items were included there. I believe they're all exclusive to Walmart, and I am on the Profusion press list, so this isn't the first package I've gotten from them. But this palette really struck me as something I wanted to focus on with a full-blown video like this because of the diversity of shades in it. So often with Profusion and other brands, the palettes will come in waves. Like we'll see a wave of orangey warm palettes or warm neutral palettes or berry palettes that are very reminiscent of modern Renaissance. And even though Profusion has done all of those, I'm pretty sure I have palettes that check all those boxes and they've done them really well, it felt like more of the same. Unlike this one, which includes a wide variety of shades, everything from neutrals to light greens, bold purples, vivid greens, obviously, oranges, and a variety of textures. They don't list out, they don't name each of the textures in here. On the back it just says they are multi-finish, but there are mattes, there are shimmers, and then there's this really unique looking texture that I want to call a metallic foil. And that's actually something that I had talked about in my 2019 beauty predictions, and basically what I'd hope to see more of in 2019 is more brands coming out with palettes that have a wide variety of textures. Not just mattes and shimmers and glitters, but kind of like we're seeing with high-end brands like Huda Beauty or Pat McGrath, where they're putting duochromes, metallic foils, crumblier, just hugely different textures than what we normally see in palettes. And I saw those in here in addition to the color spectrum it has, and I just thought this is worth a deep dive. So that's what we're going to be doing here today. I'm going to first start off with a review, swatching all of these shades, giving you my thoughts, and then at the end of the video I'll go through all the looks that I created using it. So let's go ahead and get started. So the Paradise palette has 35 shades in it and retails for $13, which I think is a really good deal considering the variety of shades and the quality of the shadows. My biggest complaint with this palette, which isn't saying much, but it is that the shade names are on this plastic overlay that comes entirely off and it's just kind of useless. I really wish they would put the shade names. Not that you really need shade names, it's mostly useful for me as I'm going to walk you through the looks that I create with this, but if you like to have the shade names there's just this annoying sheet of plastic over top that doesn't really do much for you besides get in the way. But honestly, that's the worst thing about this palette, which I feel like says a lot. The quality across the board, across all of the finishes that I mentioned, mattes, shimmers, those foiled metallic shades, they're all smooth. The metallic shades are a little crumblier, there's definitely a different texture to them in the pan, and that sometimes can lead to extra crumbliness in the formula. Maybe they're a little bit less pressed or loosely pressed, if that makes sense, but not to a point where it gets messy in the pan. There is no fallout or mess here in the pan at all, unlike I've experienced with other similar finished shades in the past. These stay neatly in their pans. All shades are just smooth and blendable and pigmented. I think you'll be able to see that in the tutorials that I do. So because this color story feels like it goes more according to columns rather than rows, that's exactly how I'm going to swatch this. So in the first column you have mostly matte, light to medium brown tones. And then the last shade is a shimmery golden bronze. Then the next column over, you have a mixture of soft olives. And I feel like olive shades are kind of underrepresented in eyeshadow palettes in general, so I was pretty happy to see, not one, but 2, both a matte and a shimmer in here. Then the next column over is the warm, specifically the orangey warm tones. There's a bright shimmery copper, a bright matte bold orange, but you also have those deeper matte shades that are great for adding a lot of depth to your outer corner, lining your eyes with, and those are definitely more orangey and warmer undertoned. Over on the next column, you have the start of the purples and our first metallic foil shade, which is a soft baby pink iridescence. And I think there are more purples than any other shade in this palette because you have bright fuchsia purples, more subdued mauve purples, dustier purples, and true purples, which kind of takes us over to the next column where you'll see those lighter, dustier, fainter purples along with a cooler shimmery bronze and a light to mid-tone taupey matte. The second to last column has our greens and a nice matte primary blue. Next to purples, green probably takes up the most space in this palette, so you not only have those nice light olives that I mentioned before, but also rich emeralds and even a blackened iridescent green, which is what I feel that metallic foil foiled shade is here. And then the last shade has a mixture of everything. There's a gold shimmer, a chocolate shimmer, the last foiled metallic in here, which is a purple, a blue purple, a deep blue purple. And then of course there is a matte black, which I'm sure will be a repeat for a lot of people's collections, but there's something about having a palette that you can just take on the go anywhere, where it has all the shades you need. You don't have to take any backups or supplementary products with you. So yeah, it's not innovative, but it is an essential, I think. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I love the combination and the variety of shades and textures within this palette. I think having all of those in here makes this such an appealing palette for such a wide variety of people. Even if your things are brown tones or neutrals, they put so many shades in here that have that essence of the comfort zone we like to live in, but just give you that hint of color, like with those soft olives or the neutrals with the purpley mauvey undertones. I just think this is going to appeal to so many people. Plus it includes that really interesting metallic foil texture. Okay, now let's talk through the 3 looks I created using this palette, first starting with the soft olive green look. You'll actually see me talking through this tutorial because I did this either last week or 2 weeks ago on my IGTV, where I've been posting shorter tutorial style videos, kind of showing you the products that I'm using behind the scenes as I'm testing them when I'm not quite ready to share a review. So if you want to see more of that, definitely give me a follow on Instagram because I post them. I've been trying to do at least 1 a week, so you can check those out there. So first I went in with the shade Camel on a fluffy blending brush. This is just a mid-tone nude, a couple shades deeper than my natural skin tone, just to add a little bit more or emphasize the depth in my natural crease. Then wanting something deeper for my outer corner, I go in with the shade Uproar, which is the deepest cool brown in this palette, using that same brush, and I just pat and blend that starting in my outer corner and eventually blending it and what's left on my brush into my crease. Then for the rest of my lid, I go in with the shade Attention and I press that across my lid. And in the pan, it looks like it has a bronzy brown tone, but once I blended it out, it really takes on more of an olive or a green shift to it, which I really like. And then to make the center of my lid pop even more, I went in with the shade Superstar with this, which is the soft iridescent olive green, again, using my finger just to pat that on. Then I finished it up with lashes, my L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise, as well as some magnetic false lashes and a brown eyeliner, and that is how I completed look number 1. Look number 2 is going all in on the purples, and I first started off with Shell, which is this soft matte lilac in the palette, sweeping that through my crease again with just a fluffy brush. Then to really build on the color, I go in with Regal, which is a deep, relatively bright and vibrant, with that same brush starting in my outer corner and then sweeping that in towards my inner corner across the lid. Then I deepen up that outer corner with a smaller, more pencil-like brush with the shade Mystique, carving out that outer V shape and taking it and blending it up through my crease a little bit. And then last up for the inner corner, I go in with the shade Poise, which is that crushed metal iridescent pink shade, using a small detailer brush so I can get in there really nice and precisely with it. I do want to say though that Poise in particular is one of those shades where it has kind of a sheer base, unlike Nebula and Galaxy, which are the other sort of crushed metal shades in this palette. Poise, because it has that sheer base, I think would go really, really beautiful as kind of a glitter overshadow to add a little bit more interest and dimension to, say, a matte shade or even a shimmery shade. You just want to like kind of DIY your own duochrome kinda. And last for the look that I'm wearing today, I started off with the shade Quest in my crease. That's obviously a very bright, bold, matte green shade. Then I took Emerald, which is kind of like a deeper shimmery form of Quest, and took that on a more pointed brush and started applying that and patting it in my outer corner, building it out there, and then blending it through my crease to about halfway across my lid. On the rest of my lid, I used a flat shader brush that I just misted with some setting spray so I could really pack on the shade Galaxy from this palette, and it was super easy to get the kind of pigmentation you see here, and it just gives this really beautiful, shifty looking emerald metallic look to the eyes. I also went into the shade Serious, which is a lighter kind of grassy or maybe even like a limier shade, and patted that on the center of my lid. Last up for the inner corner, I actually went in with the shade that I used on my inner corner in the first look, which is Superstar. It just is light and iridescent but has a slightly greeny undertone that I thought would complement this look. And then once again I finished that off with liner. This time I'm wearing a black liner on my waterline and my mascara. And that's it. That is everything I have to say about this palette. I really hope you enjoyed this deep dive, not only hearing my thoughts, seeing swatches, but also seeing these tutorials as well. Let me know what you think in the comments below if you want to see more videos like these. I always love to hear your feedback. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye guys!